So this is a video that I actually didn't plan on making at all. I just randomly got the urge to play this game again, and now you are all forced to hear it. First of all, content warning. I am British. Therefore, here in Britain, we don't actually have Chuck E. Cheese. So all of the information I'm giving out is not out of experience, so you can call me a fraud in the comments. But just so you know, I don't give a Chuckington Cheese, the Fazbear Pizzeria you willingly bring your children to. You know they made like 12 entire games and over 50 novels about why you shouldn't do this exact thing, right? Oh yeah, let that sink in. Over 50 novels. The pizzas can be made into paper airplanes, and the animatronics do a good job of representing the location. Being around as early as 77 in California, and it was only expanded across both space and time. And overall, it's a staple location of America, or wherever else you find these things. You know, I don't know. Like I said, British. Fast forward around 50 years, and a little funny series gets released called Five Nights at Freddy's. It gets a little popular, and eventually gets a good number of fan games. A lot of them being created by, at the time, younger fans dipping their toes into game creation, and will more than likely go on to have growing careers in game dev. And with the rise of Five Nights at Freddy's and the growing fan game community, it made sense for FNaF and Chuck E. Cheese to eventually come together, which is why I'm talking about today's video's topic, Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, who would have seen that coming? Created by jollytea and released to Game Jolt on January 16th, 2015, and with a shocking 381,000 views on the Game Jolt page, for what is likely his first ever video game. The game is rough, but there is some cool features, like the lack of doors, but instead you are given a gate that you can slowly wind down to survive encounters. I'm gonna skip over a lot of the history, but it's evident that the creator was pretty young by the use of their voice deepening effect during the calls.
What the fuck is he saying? What's he saying?
Also, you know, everything else about the game. But content creators would still play this and would launch it right into one of the most popular fan games on the market. And I would be lying if I said that this aged well, and it was very obviously in need of a touch-up. That's why, eventually, the game would be picked up by one Team Radiance, who you may recognize for the contributions to the FNaF or Five Nights at Treasure Island, and its genuinely fantastic sequel, Oblitus Causa. Posted on
5 years ago because again I don't close and keep display post plates, unless I am a big stupid idiot fool. Subscribe now retarded shitslord, so there.
With this announcement post, safe to say, there was a little hype. Even having jollytea himself work with the team on it, even helping with the sound design as well. And on the 4th of July 2021, the world will be blessed with Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese's Rebooted. We load into the game and we get a menu screen, and woof! Already the jumping quality here is night and day. I genuinely cannot stress how insane the graphical jump is between this and the original. And honestly, a menu screen will tell you a lot about a game's quality. Just seeing the background locations with the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic and the static, you can tell that this oozes with quality. The music as well, literally being a recreation of the original taraxacum? Taraxacum. Hold on.
Taraxacum.
Yeah, that. Every other song as well from the original game is remade here too, as well as a few extra originals. Overall, I must say, the soundtrack, banging! So without further ado, we start the game. We're brought to a screen with a post-it note, asking us to covering the shift from someone called Sue. Yeah, thanks Sue. And here, we're in the office, or dining room, with our colorful cast of creepy characters all in front of you. Yeah, these are not pictures, these are portrait animatronics that were used in the early days of the restaurant, and back in the day, would put on a show every 8 minutes where they would pop out of their little portraits and talk, joke, and sing. Because of this, they skip leg day so hard they must have forgotten them. And due to this, they will drag their metal strap across the floor when they're trying to make their way towards your office. Honestly, I just love little details like this. It's obvious that Radiance are trying to make this realistic to the time. And I'm sticking this here to just say, I adore these portrait animatronics so much. I can't get enough of them. Moving on. Before we know it, we get our first phone call, where Phone Guy explains to us that we have state-of-the-art camera system with 5, count them, 5 channels. And it's also showing that the game takes place in 1979, the same year where these portrait animatronics would be replaced with the infamous cyberamic models. But enough of me nerding out about animatronics. Our first threat of the night is the old Chuckster. He will periodically leave his portrait and make his way to the office, standing outside of the door to the diner, and you can tell that he's there by the use of a voice clip. Oh shit, there he actually call. To deal with him, we will need to slowly wind the gate down. This is one of the only mechanics to return from the original game, and here, honestly, it's fantastically implemented. The time that the gate takes to come down, paired with the later threats in the later nights, can cause some genuinely tense, spoopy gameplay moments where you're forced to make cutthroat decisions on what you want to do. Funny thing about this night, actually, is that you can just stay facing the gate with the lever held down, just completely trivializing the first night. But that's the Soylent encrusted Chuddy way.
Oh, I'm playing some...
5 nights at Chuck E. Cheese Rebooted.
So I wanted to grab a Soylent.
Oh, my fucking god, I fucking love Soylent so fucking much. Yum yum, swallow, yum, swallow, so yummy, yum 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 yum.
So soon enough, we finish the night. Between nights, we enter a fun with plush trap style segment, where at the request of Phone Guy, we go down to the basement to pick up a few items that are listed to us with a strike system, all while Krusty the cat approaches us from the pitch black darkness. And our only method of dealing with him is our ears and our flashlight. We gotta wait for him to get close enough before flashing the light in his eyes. Beating the minigame allows us to knock 2 hours off from the next night, and as the game goes on, the list of items that you'll need to find will only increase from here on out, and Krusty's AI will only get more and more aggressive. I purposefully lost these games after I beat the first one, just so I could get the full Chuckster experience, and soon enough, we move on to night 2. We get a call from the Phone Guy again, who tells us a few things. First of all, the animatronics have been attempting to perform when they weren't meant to. Therefore, we are given a tool that sits next to our TV cam, a handy-dandy stage call. Say a character is out of their place and is trying to get their grubby and sometimes stanky little mitts on you. Well, give the stage call a little push and they'll go right back to their respective home. The stage call works on half of the characters, those being Jasper, Pasquale, and Helen, but she's a bit strange. I'll get to her when we get to that night when she comes out. Finally, we are informed that the day workers claim that there's an infestation, a rat infestation, with the back dressing room being the one that's mentioned to be the location, and that we should keep an eye on it. And suddenly, on the camera, we see the infestation that we were told about. This is Costume, and Costume's mechanic is pretty basic. Just keep your eyes on him, and he will not progress any further. Because of this, you'll be focusing on Channel 4 for the majority of your playthrough from here on out. And if you don't, he will progress from Cam 4 to 5, then 3, then 2, then 1, and then eventually find his way to you. But he won't kill you, oh no, no. This guy has legs, and he will actually aura farm at your front door. And if you try to shut it, honestly super sick. Something like this I don't think I've ever seen from a fan game. It's very similar to how Balloon Boy works. You know, he disables your flashlight, letting Foxy get closer. But this is so much cooler. This is when you'll see some minor difficulty spikes that can occur with Jasper and Chucky absolutely wombo comboing you. But this is easily survivable if you take it slowly and prioritize targets. Not for me though, because Jasper literally didn't appear at all during night 2. Other than that though, there isn't really much to talk about, so moving on. Night 3 has the Phone Guy tell us some more worrying things about the animatronics, saying that the technicians had to literally bolt Chucky back to his stage. But as we quickly see,
Now you've been here for 2 whole nights.
it really didn't help all that much. As well as stressing for us to use the cameras, this is actually a super vague hint on how to deal with this night's new threat, Hellzone. Mr. Munch is a bitch. He'll leave his portrait and appear on a random camera, and all you gotta do is find him, and that's it. I've heard some people say that this isn't well articulated to the player, but I never actually had any difficulty with this, because I am chronically stupid. Munch will leave his post and will say, and during my first playthrough of this game, I didn't actually hear him say this. Instead, I heard him say, and why would he say that? I don't fucking know. And for some reason, I associated this with him being tied to the camera. A silly little mistake. Like, why would he even say this if he has no eyes himself? Oh my god! So because of this, I never actually had a problem with him. He can sneakily take you off guard occasionally, but juggling that with the costume is overall pretty simple. And I did briefly mention it earlier, but now is the last chance, and honestly, most appropriate time to talk about it. The cameras, and the fact that there being only 5 of them, is a good thing. Not only have they cut out all of the unnecessary cams and made it way more realistic to both the tech and the time period, they have genuinely, intentionally or not, perfectly balanced 2 of the main threats surrounding the cameras in the first place. Munch and Costume. Costume being a direct counter to one of your methods of dealing with an animatronic. Finding him would be way harder, and by the time that you found the camera that he was originally moved to, who's to say you didn't just find the next position, making you repeat the cycle, which would inevitably end your run. And Munch is just a direct counter to your life, if you aren't quick enough to find him in the short window that you have. Like, imagine if instead of 5 channels, you had a full FNaF-sized location map with multiple cameras and the same window of time to deal with him. It would not be a fun experience at all. So yeah, 5 channels is great, it makes sense for the time, and overall makes these 2 incredibly fun to play against and balanced. But we gotta move on, we got 2 more nights to count. So let's get to... The phone geezer drops some more animatronic lore on us. First of all, the management don't need us in tomorrow, but we don't listen and come in anyway. A classic FNaF staple, you know how it is. He also tells us that the characters will be getting scrapped and replaced with the new models in a few days, due to the amount of problems that they are showing due to technical glitches, which does fit the year too, 1979, the year the portrait mascots were replaced. And it's around this time that you may specifically notice a line that Chucky can say when he appears outside of the diner.
I will not be replaced.
Maybe he knows he's getting replaced by the end of the week and is desperate to keep his place. I love things like this. It's a great subversion of the dead kids giving the animatronics life trope. The characters gaining sentience and wanting to hold on to the life that they have. It's just so different, and it's only added to in tomorrow night's phone call. But first, Helen. Oh god. This was the first character that actually gave me some trouble when I played the game. And when I originally went through it, definitely had me smashing my head against my keyboard a lot. Helen will leave the post and wander the building until she reaches you. And when she does, she will make a noise. Then what you have to do is turn around, look at the gate, and instantly turn back so she can sneak into the dining room. And only then will the stage call work. And this absolutely went over my head the first time I played. It was only till I played this game again to gather the footage that the mechanic actually made sense to me. And honestly, looking back at it, I am shocked I managed to beat the first 620 mode when I picked the game up originally. But with that, the night goes on normally and we beat it. Right. So now I'm pretty hardened to this game. What you got now to throw at me? Surely nothing can spook me now. Italians? Italians. Chat, is it too late for me to stop playing? This is getting too scary for me. The final night, and the final bit of phone guy too, who informs us that the animatronics are definitely getting scrapped now, after they had to close the place early due to them spazzing out on stage, saying things that they aren't programmed to say. And if we take this to what Chuck says when he is outside of your room, then it just confirms that all of them are not wanting to be replaced. Although, I do not understand what makes them think having a fit and spouting nonsense about them not wanting to get replaced would make the higher-ups just not get rid of them. But what do I know? I'm not a rat, dog, chicken, whatever that thing is, or an Italian. He informs us too that he's quitting as well. Why he's quitting after the problems we're taking care of? Not sure, honestly. But again, I'm not a rat, dog, chicken, whatever that thing is, or an Italian. This time, the only new threat is Pasquale, and he works the same as Jasper, but instead of appearing when he feels like it, he instead only has a chance to become active when you leave the cameras. And the reaction time is a lot smaller compared to Jasper. He kinda acts like this game's Golden Freddy, and he has a cool jump scare too. To be fair, they all do, but I like this one especially, because like, how do you make an Italian more scary? You don't. This night, honestly, is a great little challenge, and all that you know here is being tested, and it's quite intense when it seems like everything is against you all at once, and you just barely clutch up at the last second. Quite an exhilarating feeling, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't die a few times while attempting this night. Oh, Munch, man, fuck!
Uh-oh.
Oh, come on! Come on! Hold the door down, you I did click the button, but whatever. You saw that! Could just be a skill issue, though. When other FNaF fan games implement bullshit mechanics and call it difficulty, it just feels so unearned. Easily the biggest example of a feature messing with difficulty is when games utilize RNG. All you accomplish by introducing RNG into the mix is making winning the game something that is totally out of the control of the player. This is why FNaF 1 is the worst in the series. Well, to me personally. Yeah, you heard me, fight me. I don't care. But all of the difficulty is absolutely fine-tuned here to make it as challenging but fair as you possibly can get. And I'm not saying this is a be-all end-all of FNaF game difficulty, but you're never waiting for anything to happen in this. Yes!
Oh.
Fuck yes! God, I love this game. Our reward for beating the night? Our paycheck. And a nice little jingle. That's it. Genuinely, that's all. It's as classic as a FNaF ending can get, and overall, this in and of itself is a pretty classic FNaF fan game. Stuck in an office with you using the cameras a lot, mainly focusing on one, kinda like how you do in FNaF 2 with the music box, but instead, you're watching a singular entity to make sure it won't move any further. Not the first game to do this, and definitely not the last. And upon beating the game, we're taken back to the menu, and we're given a star. And I know there are more. So how do we get them? Well, obviously the challenges. Beating challenges unlocks you new characters so that you can play the 1020 or True Nightmare as it's called. But this is something I'm not going to touch with a 5-foot pole because I already beat regular Nightmare mode and I decided to not play it again. You cannot make me, don't even try. Other things we get is a genuinely cool extras page showing the creation of the Chucky animatronic, and unfortunately it is only the Chucky animatronic. It's a shame, honestly, because I really wished I could get to see how the rest of them were created, but I digress. We also get some challenges, and pairing this with True Nightmare created a night that Radiance themselves actually deemed impossible. But eventually, and by that I do mean 2 whole years later, would be beaten by the most famous FNaF challenge YouTuber, Shooter25.
Oh my god, I did it! I did not challenges!
A moment in history, but now this challenge isn't even considered in the top 10 hardest max mode challenges, just barely grazing number 29 on the list. Still, this is really impressive, and I couldn't have even imagined myself giving a shot to True Nightmare mode on its own. I barely beat the regular Nightmare, and that was while I had no clue how Helen worked. Overall, I am a fan of this game. If it isn't the models or the game's general gameplay flow, then it's the ambience. Just something about the ambience feels so good. When you're in the office looking at all of the kooky characters just looming over you, and the ambience just hits right. And this is something that Team Radiance are always stellar in their craft. I love the story. I love how it isn't cliche. I like that it's a small, more contained story. No dead children haunting the animatronics, just a bunch of clankers gaining consciousness. The glow up between the original and this one is a night and day difference, and Radiance are easily my favorite team when it comes to making FNaF games, or just games in general, and they're looking to move away from the FNaF game formula, and this is very evident with their amazing game Oblitus Causa. I'm going through a bit of a FNaF fan game craze at the moment, and I can 100% thank this one for getting me into it. I beat Juniors right after, and I'm probably going to talk about that in the future, but this does not mean that I'm becoming a FNaF channel. Oh no. This is a channel that's just for me to autistically rant about things that I like. Oh, soon to be a thing that I hate. So stick around for that. I also wanted to push this out quickly because my Halloween video got claimed and the dispute got rejected, so I gotta get content out in the meantime. I'm not gonna waste my time anymore on it, fighting the claim, because it's just distracting me from making other videos, and Lord knows that I need to be doing that. But thank you for watching. Massive thank you to my members, those being Get Gaming, iBeam, Mangu, Ozzy the Raccoon, and a very special thank you to my tier 3 member, Mimtaru. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, why not sub and join the Discord server? Share it to someone who you fucking hate, and I'll see you in the next one.
The mighty
Chocolate soil, yummy, yummy, yum, yum.